Hello, welcome to another video. As you can tell, I've dyed my hair pink. First things first, I am really digging the pink. I don't know if this is going to be my first video with the pink though, but it's the first one I've filmed with the pink. But as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail, today I will be revisiting my priorities. About 6 months ago, so very early in the year, I did a video where I spoke about my top priority fantasy reads for the year. There was a stack of books that I wanted to get through this year, and as we're just over halfway through the year now, we're actually a little more than halfway through the year, I thought it would be a good opportunity for us to revisit those priorities, work out if I have prioritised them and if I have managed to make a dent in that list, or if I've got a lot of work to do with the remaining 5 months of the year. So pretty much that's what we're going to be doing today. I have the video on my phone. I'm just going to play it, kind of react to it I guess, but we will be chatting about these books as I go through. I can't remember everything that was on it. There are some that I can remember that I know I've read, so I know I have made a start, but I can't remember everything that was on this, like, off the top of my head. So this could be quite interesting, but let's get started. I'll turn the volume up so you can hear it. Maybe I'll scooch just so I can put the video here. That seems like a good idea. But yeah, let's get started. Hello! Welcome back to another video. Today, as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail, we are going to be chatting about my top 10 priority adult fantasy reads for the year. Okay, there were 10. That's reasonable. I'm going to skip through me nattering on and just get to the books, so let's see what the first one is. Most of these are not in any particular order, however, this one is my top priority. I need to get to this one ASAP. And that is The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson, book 3 in the Mistborn trilogy, which I have read. I have completed the Mistborn trilogy. I read that one pretty early in the year, so it really was my top priority. And I think I read it for, was it for Read It Like Cody, I want to say? I read it in that video. But best ending to a trilogy I think I have ever read. It was a 5-star read, and if you have not yet read the Mistborn trilogy, I really encourage you to do so. I thought Brandon Sanderson was going to be really intimidating and really difficult for me to get into and to actually read, but it hasn't been at all, and I loved that trilogy. The first one was good, the second one was really good, the third one was really, really good. Best ending, I loved it. I love Vin. It was, everything I wanted it to be. So glad that I have read that and have finally finished the Mistborn trilogy, because I feel like wanting to read Brandon Sanderson had been like a goal of mine for a little while, and I actually have accomplished that, and I've read more than just that from him as well. So yeah, I'm really happy to have done that. If you're unfamiliar with what Mistborn is about, it is set in a world where allomancy is a thing, which means you can ingest metals and get the power of that metal. If you can only ingest one, you're an allomancer. If you can ingest all of them and get all of the powers, then you are what's called a Mistborn. We follow a young girl who's had it a bit rough. However, she is kind of taken into this group of people who want to overthrow the Lord Ruler because he's this big evil guy and they want to take him down. But of course there is lots of allomancy involved. The magic system's really easy to get to grips with. It's quite action-packed, kind of political, but lots of fun and quite an easy read actually. I really enjoyed it and did give it 5 stars. Next up, similarly, is another Brandon Sanderson book, but that is Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, which I have also read. I did read Elantris as well, as I just said. I've not just read the Mistborn trilogy from him anymore. I have read Elantris as well. Again, another one I read pretty early in the year. I actually buddy read this one with Aaron. I liked this one. I didn't like it as much as the Mistborn trilogy. I think it came out at a 4-star for me, but I still found it thoroughly enjoyable. This is about the kind of fallen city of Elantris, and there is a princess who is travelling to marry her betrothed, but she discovers that her betrothed has died, so she can't marry him, but she's tied into a contract, so she's like part of this family. And there is this disease, and people that contract this sort of disease, it kind of makes you dead. And then these dead people are put into Elantris, where they're still like animated, but they don't have a life. They're not living anymore. And they're thrown into the like decaying city of Elantris, which is protected and walls all around it and stuff. It was really fascinating, and the magic was very fascinating. I enjoyed it a lot, and our main character was really enjoyable to follow, actually. I liked it quite a bit. Just not quite as good as Mistborn, but still a thoroughly good 4-star read. I enjoyed it a lot and would recommend. Elantris or The Final Empire are both great places to start with Brandon Sanderson. I think you could start with either. But yeah, again, not dense, not difficult to get into or difficult to follow. I thoroughly enjoyed it and would still recommend. Nice, 2 for 2, I'm doing good. Next up, I know a few people will be happy to see this make an appearance, is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. Okay, I haven't done this one. I haven't even made plans to do this one. It's just sat over there. Yeah, I haven't started The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon yet. I say I haven't made plans for it. I haven't made immediate plans for it, but I do in the back of my mind have a rough idea for how/when I want to get to that. There's a small plan, I just am not putting it into action quite yet, but yeah, it's still one that I would like to get to this year. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I haven't done that yet, so 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I just know that I need to prioritise The Bone Season for the rest of the year. Let's see if I do that. Okay, next. Next up on this list is one I'm very excited about, which is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I have read that one. I read that one for Read It Like Aaron because it's a book that I associate so heavily with Aaron, so had to read it for that video, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really action-packed. Our main character is really kick-ass and a little bit twisted and so devoted to becoming the best warrior. It's a little bit messed up, but also really intriguing, and I have got the sequel for that one recently. It was gifted to me by William. Thank you for that, William. I haven't read it yet, but I do now have the sequel and would like to get to that at some point. Whether or not that's this year, who knows. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I think it ended up being a 5-star read for me. It was either a really high 4 or a 5. I did thoroughly enjoy that one. Follows a young man called Tao who wants to avenge his family, wants to become the best warrior that ever lived, and there's like this underworld, and he kind of travels to this underworld because he's in such a twisted mental position of wanting to be the absolute best and wanting to train and train and train, and there's not enough hours in the day for him to perfect his skill and to be the absolute best, so he ends up training in this sort of underworld place. It's really fascinating, and of course there are dragons. I am excited to read the sequel to this one to see where it's gonna go. I read it very quickly, to be fair with you. I think I kind of flew through it to a point where I can't remember all the finer details of it, but I just remember being really blown away by Tao as a main character, just for like the intensity of it, the intensity of his character and his ambition. And yeah, it was really interesting and fascinating to follow him and his development. But yeah, I'm really excited to get to the sequel to that one. So another one off the list. 3 out of 4. We're doing okay. Next up, we have The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This one has been getting so much hype lately. I mean, it's been getting hype pretty much constantly. And I have read The Poppy War as well. Did I also read this for Read It Like Cody? I think I might have done. I enjoyed The Poppy War. I think I was perhaps expecting a little bit too much from it. I was expecting it to absolutely blow my mind and it didn't quite, so I was a little underwhelmed in places with that one. but again, thoroughly enjoyable. Will be continuing that series. It follows a young woman called Rin who wants to join the most elite military school, and there's this really intense testing for it, and she gets in, but then it's kind of learning the differences between training for war and the realities of war. It gets very political. There's kind of a divide in this one. A lot of people either prefer the first half or the second half, the first half being the training and the academy element to it, and the second half being the brutality of war element. I lean towards preferring the second half than the first. School settings are never usually my favourite, to be honest with you. So yeah, I lean towards preferring the second half of that, which makes me very excited for how the rest of the series is going to go. But yeah, I didn't absolutely love it, but I'm fascinated by it. It was still a solid 4-star read for me, just not a new all-time favourite, considering all the hype that was for it. But yeah, I still thoroughly enjoyed it. And another one that I have read, so yeah, I will get to the sequel. I do have the Dragon Republic up there, just out of frame. I will get there. Whether I get to it this year, who knows, but I will get there. Next up, we have The Fool's Errand by Robin Hobb, which I have, of course, read. I've read Fool's Errand and Golden Fool as well now, so my next priority is to get to Fool's Fate. But of course I'm reading these for Elderling Along, so I naturally was going to get to that. There was never any thought that I wouldn't, and I've now read the sequel to that, and my next priority is the third book in that trilogy. I love Robin Hobb's books. This trilogy could possibly be shaping up to be my favourite one. Fool's Errand, Golden Fool, Fool's Fate, the 20-man trilogy. I've just fallen in love with it a lot. Golden Fool, I think, has taken top spot, which for me was Mad Ship. I absolutely loved the live ship traders, but yeah, I think 20-man may bump up to my top spot for Hobb. I love it so much. So emotionally invested at this point. Robin Hobb can write so amazingly, and I've just been loving it. So yeah, I did read it. 5 stars. I'm loving this trilogy a whole heck of a lot, and I'm now on to the final book in that trilogy for Elderling Along. Yay! I'm doing really well. There's only one that I haven't read so far. Next up on this list is a beast of a book, which is The Ruin of Kings by Jen Lyons. This is one, I haven't got to that. I forgot that I put that on here entirely. That is a beast of a book, and I've also kind of forgotten what it's about. I'm not going to remind myself though. I am probably going to go into it pretty blind. I think I'm going to like it just because I remember it being a bit brutal. If I'm remembering correctly at all. Is it like a boy who doesn't... I can't remember. I'm not going to try and explain it because I don't know. But clearly it was a priority at the beginning of the year, and I haven't got to it yet, but a lot of these books have a lot of things in common, so I do think I'm going to enjoy it when I get to it because I've enjoyed everything else that I've read from this list. But yeah, there we go. There's another one I need to prioritise for the rest of the year. I need to try and get to The Ruin of Kings. But that book is beastie. We'll see what happens. Next up is Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is another one that has had a lot of hype around it. And another one that I have read. I have read Jade City. I really enjoyed it. I read that one for Do the Thing-a-thon, I think it was. And I did really enjoy it. It's another really high 4-star read for me, and I am intending on reading the sequel sometime, hopefully soon. Who knows if it will be this year, but I did thoroughly enjoy it. It's kind of pitched as like gangster movie, like Hong Kong gangster vibes going on here. It's about these clans that control jade in this city, and only the Greenbones can use jade to enhance their abilities. So like wearing a load of jade makes them these incredible warriors, but there is a drug that is getting out that means that anyone can harness the power of jade, and this could be incredibly dangerous. So it's these two clans kind of fighting against each other, lots of rivalry, lots of brutality, quite a bit of murder. I really enjoyed it a lot. Hilo, the main character, is questionable, and I've heard that he just becomes more questionable, so I'm very excited to read Jade War, hopefully before the end of the year, but who knows. But yeah, another one that I thoroughly enjoyed and really recommend. Perhaps a bit more brutal than some of the others, but yeah, another one that I have got to. So far I am really doing pretty well with this and really enjoyed it. Clearly I know my taste because all of the ones I've read from this list I have really enjoyed, so good job I prioritised them. Next up, we have The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I haven't read that one either. Okay, so that's 3 now that I haven't read. I'm still doing pretty well. Yeah, that's all about like natural disasters, right? But it's become very hyped again. It kind of went through hype and then disappeared and then it's being hyped again. I don't know if I'm as excited about this one anymore, but I will still try and prioritise it because I've heard some fantastic things about it. It's just a few more of my friends have read it now and haven't loved it or haven't loved the sequel, but we will see. Like, I can form my own opinions and I've been pretty right on everything else that I prioritised and have loved, so maybe I will still love this one. But yeah, from what I know about this world is having a lot of natural disasters, but are they natural? It's the Broken Earth trilogy, so yeah. I remember something about volcanoes and earthquakes and stuff, but it's kind of sci-fi fantasy-ish. I don't know too much about it off the top of my head, but I know there's some second-person perspective in there, which kind of throws people off, which actually intrigues me. But we'll see when I get to it, but there you go, there's a third one I need to prioritise for the second half of this year. And finally, number 10 on this list is a book that I should have got to a long time ago, and that is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. And I've done this one too. Wow, okay. So I've read 7 of the 10 from this list. I've read 7 of the 10 books I wanted to prioritise. I only have 3 more to prioritise for the rest of the year. That's actually really good going. But yes, I have finally read The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I read it this month, actually, and Aaron has forced me into doing it for being part of her Booked and Busy book club, the Busy Bee book club even, which she's forced me and Gavin to read The Name of the Wind. And I've done it. After putting it off for all these years, I finally have read it. And I will admit, this is one I didn't love quite so much. As I've already said, I don't love the school setting, and there's a lot about this that takes place at the university, but it's also Kvothe telling his life story, and I liked the present day parts where he's actually telling his life story, like he's in the tavern conversing before telling the story, and then I didn't like the story so much. So yeah, I didn't love this one. It got a 3-star, so that's the lowest rating so far from this list, but it's one that I've been putting off for such a really long time. But there is a vlog where I read that if you want to go and check out more thoughts on it, because I'm running out of time here. But yeah, 3 stars. And you know what? For my list of 10 books that I wanted to prioritise this year, 3-star being the lowest rating, and that only being 1 out of the 7 that I've read, so I've had 6 4- or 5-star reads that I wanted to prioritise this year. I think that's pretty good going. And that does mean that I have 3 more left that I need to prioritise for the rest of the year, which is The Bone Season, The Ruin of the Kings, and The Fifth Season. So will I get to those 3 before the end of the year? Place your bets now. But I think it's been really interesting to revisit my priorities and see how I'm doing, where I stand with them. I'm actually really proud of myself and quite impressed that I managed to get through as many as I did. So pat on the back for me there. But yeah, fingers crossed I can complete the whole list. That would be pretty cool. That is all I have for you today. Thank you for coming down this reprioritization journey with me. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, give us a thumbs up, chat to me down below, let me know what other books you think I should prioritise that didn't make it onto my initial list, and that aren't on that remaining 3. What other books do you think I should prioritise trying to get to sometime soon? What ones do you think I will also love? I would love to know. But yeah, thank you ever so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.